Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Fantastic to see such a great mix of familiar faces, clients, partners, and a few of you who we haven't met before. So thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much. Before we dive into today's session, which Chrissy from World's Better will be leading, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself and GSI for those who are new to us. So my name's Grace. I am the founder of GSI. GSI is a platform that automates the transfer of sustainability data for hotels and venues across the world, whether that's sharing it with stakeholders and investors, HR, recruitment, sales and marketing, or ultimately for governance and reporting. Our software provides a single source of truth for that sustainability insights across all of your properties. Our mission is to help hotels to maximise the return of their sustainability investments, support our agents in navigating that complex landscape, and empower corporates and leisure travellers to make informed, responsible choices when they're booking venues. So we're super excited to be partnering with Chrissy and the team at World Better to deliver this training series. These webinars are designed specifically for hoteliers, agents, hospitality professionals, with the goal of building confidence in sustainability and providing practical tools for taking real action in your day-to-day operations. It's not about us adding to complexity. We know it's a busy ecosystem already. It's about us simplifying sustainability and helping you cut through that noise to make clear action-orientated guidance. So yes, we're fortunate to collaborate with Chrissy and her team for over a year now. In fact, they were the brains behind the GSI assessment. So we know you're in great hands. And with that, I'll hand over to you, Chrissy. Tell us a bit more about yourself and World's Better, and then we can jump into the session.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Grace. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'll tell you a bit about World's Better in a minute. But first, I'm just going to run us through quickly what we're going to be running through today. So we'll start off a bit of an introduction about World's Better, who we are, what we do. We're going to talk about the general sustainability challenge that we all face. And then we'll talk about how we accelerate that sustainability journey. We're going to try and focus on what matters most, especially within the main challenges, and look at some of the opportunities within those challenges. And then we'll touch on at the end on how to build momentum. And there'll hopefully be some time at the end for Q&A. So we'll take you all off mute and you're welcome to ask questions. But do go ahead and pop things in the chat and I will try and keep an eye on it, or I'll get to your questions at the end. What I am going to need you to do is have your phones ready, because we're going to be doing some quizzes as we move through this. So have your phones ready. We're going to use Slido at points. So I'll let you know what to do and how to do it when we get there. But first off, let me introduce myself and World's Better. So my name is Chrissy Beck. I'm the founder of event sustainability consultancy World's Better. We are a sustainability consultancy that specialises in the live events and experiential industries. So we work with venues, we work with suppliers such as caterers or production providers or graphics vendors. We work with loads of agencies, and we work with corporate event teams to help them achieve whatever their sustainability ambitions might be. And we do lots of different things. We do operational audits, we do carbon reporting and road mapping to net zero. We do lots of compliance, certifications and accreditations like ISO 14001, 2012 one, B Corp, etc., etc. Lots of training and lots of webinars like this, but also event-specific measurement and impact reporting. And everything else that all contributes to businesses behaving more sustainably. So that's a little bit about us, but I'm going to start off with a quick quiz. So grab your phones. Firstly, I want to ask you quickly, do we all know what the definition of sustainability is? So grab your phone, scan this QR code on the left hand side, and you should be taken to a quiz that shows these 4 questions here. So what is sustainability? What's the definition of sustainability? Is it the ability to increase production without regard for environmental consequences? Is it meeting present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs? Is it the reduction of environmental impact through technological innovation, regardless of its economic or social consequence? Or is it fostering social equality through immediate resource distribution, irrespective of environmental or economic consequences? I can see there's 4 people in here. Give you a little bit more time, a couple more seconds to complete the quiz. Let me know your answers. I'm going to close it in 3, 2. Oh, we've got 8 people. Maybe I'll give it 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Okay, so the definition of sustainability is indeed meeting present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Now, the 17% of you said the reduction of environmental impact through technological innovation, it encompasses that. But it's about this kind of holistic point of view of considering multiple entities, not just environmental impact. So let's have a look at that. When we talk about sustainability, it tends to fall under a few different frameworks. So one of which is called the triple bottom line, and this is referred to as the 3 Ps: people, planet, and profit. And the idea of this model is that these 3 areas, these 3 pillars, so people, planet, and profit, are considered equally. So one isn't prioritized over another. So think of this like a kind of 3-legged stool, like a seat. Everything should be considered in equal balance, otherwise it topples over. You want this sweet spot of sustainability in the middle where all 3 are considered equally. And when we're thinking about environmental sustainability, that is around ensuring that natural resources are used responsibly and conserved. It's minimizing pollution and environmental degradation and protecting ecosystems and biodiversity. Now, economic sustainability is promoting practices that support economic growth and development while also ensuring that resources are managed efficiently and equitably to benefit current as well as future generations. And then social sustainability is about addressing issues like equity, justice, quality of life, and ensuring that the benefits of development are distributed fairly. And so, one of the key things to consider here is sustainability is about creating an economy where profit is prioritised after the needs of the people and the planet are met. Otherwise, you start to get this instability. Now, another sustainability framework that is kind of used more in a corporate sense is ESG, so environment, social, and governance. And this, is more of a set of criteria that's used by stakeholders, often investors, to evaluate sustainability and ethical impact within a company. So under ESG, it's very similar to the triple bottom line, but environmental sustainability is around, climate change, energy use, waste management, pollution, and natural resource conservation. And social aspects within this would be fair labour practices, human rights, community impact, employee relations, and customer satisfaction. And then governance, which is the slightly different pillar under ESG, this is around ensuring that a business is governed fairly. So, accountability within a business, like board composition and executive compensation, might be around transparency or ethics or stakeholder rights, shareholder rights, in fact. And ESG criteria is used by investors to screen potential investments and manage risk, which ensures companies are investing that it ensures that companies that investors are investing in are responsible and sustainable. So both the triple bottom line and ESG provide these fairly simple structures of how sustainability can be embedded and accessible within a business. And a third one to mention here is the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I'm sure you guys have all heard about these 17 interlinked global goals intended to be achieved by the year 2030, which, let's face it, is just around the corner. But these were developed at COP in 2015 and developed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. What we see here is different goals that are centered around environment, social, governance, and economic sustainability. So we tend to see that those three frameworks that we've just discussed all quite interconnect with one another. So here on the screen, you can see how the UN Sustainable Development Goals align with this ESG framework. But Sustainable Development Goals and ESG are designed to complement different business types with different focuses and just kind of give this guideline for how sustainability can be applied to a business. But in addition to those, there are so many other sustainability frameworks and certifications that are available today. You know, some of these are mandatory, driven by government regulations or reporting requirements, and some of them are voluntary, and they're designed to help businesses to demonstrate their commitment to sustainability. But each of these frameworks serve a slightly different purpose. So 14,001 and B Corp focus on business-wide sustainability performance, whereas others like Science Based Targets Initiative, SBTI, and CPD Carbon Disclosure Project, they're centered around climate action and emissions reduction. And then you've got others like Rainforest Alliance, Fair Trade, FSC, that all ensure ethical and responsible sourcing of products and materials is considered. And for businesses, the navigation of this certification and framework landscape can be really overwhelming. And the key is to understanding which frameworks are relevant to you, your business type, your industry, and also your sustainability goals and your stakeholder expectations. So let's try and simplify this a little bit, and we'll give you a few tips, a 3-step approach for how you can accelerate your sustainability journey. And we've talked about how businesses want to be sustainable, but they don't really know either where to start or how to progress and kind of push a little bit further. And there are common challenges that businesses face in starting or improving their sustainability efforts. And we know that the landscape is complex. There are regulations, there are investor expectations, there are customer demands, and all of these are continually evolving and changing. There's lots of noise, and it's hard to know which sustainability actions really matter. And companies are obviously starting to get worried about greenwashing and being able to make credible claims. So here's our suggestions of how you can kind of calm all that noise and start with an assessment of your sustainability performance and how you can start or push forward with your sustainability journey. So 3 steps. First, understand where you stand. So start with an assessment of your current sustainability status. 2, prioritize what matters most. So identify key areas of focus so that you know where to put your efforts. And then 3, turn those insights into action. Develop a roadmap with quick wins and with long-term strategies. So let's go into those in a bit more detail. So starting with the first step, understanding where you stand. So before you can make any meaningful improvements, you need to know where you stand. And starting by conducting a simple but thorough sustainability assessment is key. So look at what your business is doing already. You know, read through all your policies, your handbooks, understand your ambitions and goals as a business and any existing targets that you may have. Engage with your stakeholders as well. So those could be customers, employees, investors, your supply chain, and understand their expectations and needs. And when you conduct this initial assessment, you need to think beyond just environmental impacts. You know, the E of ESG definitely gets a lot more focus than the S and the G. So consider your social and governance factors too. So how do you support your people? How do you support your supply chain or your local community? And think about how your business is run and governed fairly. And in the overall goal of this step is to create yourself a baseline and an honest one and a snapshot of where you are now. Then step 2, identifying and prioritizing what matters most. So you've got this clear picture of where you stand. Your next step is to focus your efforts on where you can have the biggest difference. And not all sustainability actions have the same impact, and not all actions will require big budgets or complex strategies. This is where it's important to identify your sustainability hotspots. And these are areas where your business has a significant impact or influence. And that could be energy use, it could be travel, it could be supply chain, it could be waste, social responsibility. You'll be able to understand that based on your understanding of the business and your assessment of where you stand. You can then look for those quick wins. So actions that are easy to implement, low cost, but high impact. And those can help you to build momentum and start delivering results early on, even with limited resources. And then you should also be considering what matters most to your stakeholders. You know, your internal goals as well, and the resources that you have are important, but your stakeholders are key. And by prioritizing all of the things that you could do, your actions then become strategic, they become efficient and cost effective, and that can help you avoid wasting time or spending time and energy on low impact initiatives. So then your third step is turning those insights from the first and second step into action. So you've understood where you stand, you've identified your priorities, and next you want to put together some sort of practical solutions and action plan. And this is where you shift into your how, your practical, realistic action plan that reflects both those quick wins, but potentially the longer term ambitions and more kind of, you know, strategic initiatives. And, you know, this action plan doesn't need to be complex. You know, try to prioritize things that are within your budget, within your means, within your resources, within, you know, your own capacity and knowledge internally. But if you do need any additional advice or support, then you've got people around you, such as consultants like World's Better, to support you on that journey. But at this point, you can focus on actions that are achievable within your resources and start with what's going to make the biggest difference quickly. You know, this is about building on solid foundation or progressing where you started. And most importantly, it's about action. But also remembering that sustainability is a journey. It's about progress. It's not about perfection. And every action that you take lays the groundwork for deeper and long-lasting change. Right, so I'm going to run through this really quickly. We've got about 5 minutes to do this. We're going to talk about what matters most to you, and identify some of the main challenges and the opportunities. So grab your phones again and scan the QR code. I'm going to present you with some environmental challenges, and I want you to try and score these in order of importance. So you should be able to score them in your app. So what is your main environmental challenge? We've got emissions, waste, energy use, water use, impact on biodiversity, pollution, or supply chain environmental impact. Now, as people start to kind of grade what the biggest challenge is all the way down to the bottom, we'll start to see these pop up. Absolutely, the most common challenge that we see generally is supply chain. But we've got a real mix here. We've got emissions and supply chain at the top, with waste and energy use. Waste seems to be coming out on top today. Interesting. Great. Emissions has gone straight to the top. Excellent. Interesting. Right. Okay. Cool. So whoever is voting, keep your fingers on there, because we're going to do the same for social and governance in a minute. And if you haven't voted, then get your phone out and be ready for the next one. But that's really interesting. So thank you. So these are the common ones that we generally tend to see. So many businesses have no understanding of the risks in their supply chain. You know, they don't assess the environmental impact of their suppliers. And we know that businesses that assess their supply chains can reduce their environmental impact, strengthen their resilience, align with their own sustainability ambitions, but also align with sustainability regulations that may be coming in. Understanding your supplier practices helps to prevent unexpected risks, such as sourcing from environmentally harmful providers. Many businesses also don't understand their operational and services emissions. And without understanding and measuring your emissions, it's impossible to reduce them effectively. So measuring your carbon footprint of your business operations enables you to understand the main sources of your emissions and to set your reduction targets and potentially cut some costs. And then the last one, many businesses don't measure or manage their waste effectively. Now, waste disposal, we know, costs money, and poor management increases environmental harm. So reducing waste through reuse or recycling, segregation programs can create cost savings, but also have sustainability benefits. So we've talked about environmental. Next up, social. Right, fingers on the buzzers. What's your biggest social challenge? We've got community engagement, employee satisfaction and retention, diversity and inclusion, ethical supply chain and fair labour practices, economic inequality and wage gaps, adapting to shift. Everything's moved around, so I've lost count of where I am. Adapting to shift employee expectations and skills development and the future of work. So already we've got someone voting on adapting to shifting employee expectations. Super interesting. Ethical supply chain and fair labour coming out high. Skills development and the future of work. Really interesting. Wonderful. Keep voting, people. This is all really useful information, not just for me, but for everyone on the call. We've got a vote for pretty much everything here, except for community engagement. Diversity and inclusion has made it in there. But ethical supply chain and fair labour practices is right at the top. Adapting to shifting employee expectations is second. Excellent. That's super interesting. Right. When it comes to social sustainability, many companies don't have a good understanding of staff well-being, and they might not be tracking staff satisfaction or have a feedback process. Without assessing mental health, work-life balance, or overall well-being of your workforce, businesses can lower productivity and have a higher turnover if they consider these things. If employees feel unheard or have unclear engagement channels, businesses can miss valuable insights or improvement. So prioritizing mental employee well-being can see higher productivity, engagement and loyalty. Many companies have no understanding of the social risks within their supply chain. So just like we spoke about with environmental risks, social risks like labour rights violations, poor working conditions or unethical sourcing can damage reputation and legal compliance. So ethical sourcing and responsible supplier management reduces risks and enhances customer trust. And then finally, many businesses have no community engagement. Businesses that operate within communities, but many fail to engage or support with local charities or initiatives or partnerships that create shared value, and supporting local initiatives that can build goodwill, enhance reputation, and also build meaningful connections. So last one, we're going to go for governance. What is your main governance challenge? We've got regulatory compliance, ensuring transparency and ethical decision making, preventing fraud, corruption, and conflicts of interest. We've got data privacy, cybersecurity, and responsible AI governance. We've got embedding ESG principles into corporate strategy and ensuring transparency and ethical decision making. So it looks like most people have already gone for embedding ESG principles into corporate strategy, which is a common risk. What else have we got? Understanding and managing emerging risks, data privacy, regulatory compliance coming up top at the moment. But it looks like embedding ESG principles into corporate strategy is definitely up at the top. Right, I'm going to move on because we're running out of time, folks. Right, so governance. Many businesses have no ESG accreditations, which limit their credibility and also competitive advantage. So key certifications to think about: 14001, which is environmental management systems, 2012 one, which is sustainable event management systems, B Corp. There are lots. There's just a few for you to think about. Many businesses have no structured ESG risk assessment across their operations and supply chain. And without that risk assessment, businesses can struggle to identify, prioritise, but also mitigate potential impact. So implementing a risk assessment framework helps you to proactively manage climate risks, regulatory compliance, but also social impacts. And then finally, some companies have limited ESG transparency and tracking to assess and report on their sustainability performance. And without data-driven insights, businesses can't demonstrate their progress, they can't meet expectations from their stakeholders or simply comply with emerging regulations. So establishing those tracking mechanisms and sharing ESG performance can build trust with your investors, with your customers, and also with stakeholders, and prepare you for future regulatory compliance. I'm going to shift straight to Q&A because we've got 4 minutes left. Grace, are we able to open the floor for any questions that we might have in the room?
Yes, absolutely. Let's unmute everyone.
Does anyone have a question? Or you can pop it into the chat as well. Oh, the Q&A.
Just while I'm doing that, thank you so much, Chrissy. That was really, really insightful. Super helpful to be able to kind of pinpoint it down into 3 clear actions. So yeah, I hope that was useful to anybody. Anybody who's got any questions, now is your opportunity. Please join us.
There should be I think there's a Q&A feature. So either, if you can't take yourself off of mute, you should be able to ask me a question in the Q&A section.
I can see that Paul's typing. Everyone should be off mute now, so feel free to unmute yourselves and join us.
Oh.
Paul can't unmute himself. Let's see what's going on there. Thought I just did it for everybody.
We've got one question here from Jean. How do you feel is the best way to present findings and or sustainability plans for clients? I would do some analysis of what your clients are after. And it really depends on what you're doing and how you want to present it. But generally, doing an impact report of, initiatives that you may be running in your business, and your kind of sustainability efforts so far, any targets you've set yourself and your trajectory towards achieving those targets. Yeah, I would present all of that information, or even if it's more basic than that, and understanding what your clients are after, but also preparing some sort of impact report that covers the commonly requested information that your clients are asking for. And Louise Palmer,
Paul, are you able to? Sorry,
you
should be able to unmute yourself and ask now. Can we just double check that?
Yeah, I can, but actually my question was similar to Louise's.
Paul just said his question was quite similar to Louise's, is it? Okay. Louise, how do you manage this alongside other business priorities in this industry? That's a good question. And I would say it's important that this belongs to someone in a business, that sustainability is given some level of resource, especially if your business has, ambitions. Dedicated time and resource from someone in a business is required to achieve, something. You do need time and energy and resources to achieve these things. But as businesses get bigger and their ambitions become bigger, the resource that they have needs to increase. I know there's a lot of businesses out there where they may give sustainability lead as a kind of joint role or title to someone in a business that is doing a day job, but then completing sustainability in addition to that day job. And it's complicated, but in order to achieve some of these things, you do need to dedicate time to it, right? You can't just make things happen without any time or efforts. So I would say, ensuring that you have time and resource for your business to be completing these things is really quite critical. Right, I think we're at time. So there was just one thing I just wanted to finish on, which was to say that I really appreciate everyone's contribution today to the quizzes, and we only got time for a couple of questions, and I do really encourage more conversations like this. So I'll share my contact details afterwards, and if you do want to have a conversation, if you've got any questions about anything that we've covered today, I'd happily answer them. And I'd remind you that sustainability is a journey, and I think Louise's question is really important, because sometimes companies have these big expectations of things to achieve, but you're trying to achieve something alongside your day job, so it can seem a little bit overwhelming. But doing what you can within your means is critical. But if you need to go to someone senior with a proposal for more time or more resource or consultancy expertise, you should be doing that too, so that it kind of matches up with what the ambition is. But yeah, World's Better are here to support if you ever need any help or consultancy in achieving what you might need to. And yeah, just get in touch if you'd like to chat more.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. That was fabulous. And thank you everyone for joining us. We shall see you all soon.